production of Pioneer Utility Resources. Story Connect, helping communicators discover ideas to shape their stories and connect with their customers.
Energy efficiency isn't new, so how can you tell a timeless story in an engaging way? That's what we'll be talking about on this episode of the Story Connect podcast. Hi, I'm your host, Megan McCoy-No, one of the storytellers at Pioneer Utility Resources, and I am joined by David Latona. He's the Vice President for Communications and Governmental Affairs at DEMCO in Louisiana. David, thank you so much for joining us today.
Great, and I'm a utility pioneer.
Oh, yes, you are, David. Yes, we love calling all of our members.
Wonderful.
Yeah, you're a utility pioneer because you are forging the way and helping show us some really fun ways to tell stories. So Before we get started, just tell me a little bit about DEMCO and the communities that you serve.
Sure. We in Louisiana have parishes and not counties. So we serve 7 parishes in southeast Louisiana. That's the toe of the boot. So those are parishes surrounding the capital city of Baton Rouge. Many rural locations, many urban locations, and many suburban. We're kind of we call it rooter to tutor. We serve them all, everyone in the service territory. But we are a larger co-op when you consider the national average. We are 116,000 meters. So we are hovering around that number 24, number 25 spot when you consider the co-ops, electric co-ops around the country.
Yeah. Okay. And I would say I think nationally it's about 12,000 members is the national average for folks.
Yeah. Yeah. So we have district offices that are larger than that. So it's just, we do understand folks are structured different. There may be co-ops in other states that are adjacent to, right next to one another, that would make up what might look like a DEMCO in the way we have our districts separated. But nonetheless, we love our members equally, 116,000 of them.
So you are one of the larger co-ops out there, but I love one of your campaigns. And you and I were talking about this a few weeks ago, which is when I asked if you would share this on the podcast, because I think it's something that co-ops of any size can learn from, which is key, because you really used existing resources and then kind of put a spin on your storytelling, which I love. I love finding ways to use existing resources in really new and exciting ways. So energy efficiency, it's something that all electric utilities have to address, not just once, but every year, several times a year, over and over and over again. It is a story that can feel a little stale for storytellers who have had to share it so many times. And it can be really hard to find inspiration when you're told again, hey, we need to make sure we're talking about energy efficiency. Yay. So with that in mind, tell us a little bit about DEMCO's Power Smart campaign.
Excellent. Well, the Power Smart campaign was really born out of what we already provided. We knew that we provided, like you said, energy efficiency tips and advice and publications and videos and Facebook posts. There's so many things that we do. And we said, hey, you know what? Let's bring all of our tools that we offer our members into a place where a familiar icon and maybe a color palette can bring folks to that, right? So we, if your viewers or listeners would see our website at demco.org, you might see our Power Smart collateral there. But we created just a 2-dimensional, but a mascot of sorts. Yeah. And it's a cute little owl that has our Starburst logo as its eye, right? But nonetheless, his name is Simon, and he can be found throughout our website or Facebook posts that are guiding folks towards saving on their electric bill, right? We know that a member with as small a bill as possible is a happy member, right? That's what we want. And we do want to promote energy efficiency, but then also to educate members that what you use is what you're billed for. This is not, we're not structured like a telephone service or a cable vision where you're paying one monthly fee and you get as much as you want to use, right? An electric utility is very different, right? We bill folks, we sell them the electricity. So every kilowatt hour, every spark that they bring down is something that they will pay for. So saving on that usage equals saving on that bill. So we
Yeah.
wanted to use something cute, something flashy. There's some orange colors in there. We even did a little video animation of Simon himself, and just to bring folks attention to the energy efficiency measures that they can take on their own.
Well, I love that idea because you're right. We do have so many storytelling tools that we can use for energy efficiency, but uniting all of those stories under a recognizable branding, having those united colors and messaging that aligns across everything. I know you and I have known each other since I was at NRACA. And one of the things that people would talk about a lot was we're getting so many different resources from all over the place, and we don't have like a single message, a brand that we can use for this. It could be confusing people. So I love taking the resources that are out there and branding them for your utility and your program. And I have to ask you, ever since you told me the owl's name, do you start things out with Simon Says?
That's a great resource we can use, right? I'm going to steal that. Thank you very much.
I mean, it's the first thing I was like, an
Simon, I
owl
guess,
named Simon. Yes.
he's very clever, right? Because this is a Power Smart,
he
right?
is.
And he's shaped like a light bulb. How clever is that? But Simon, I guess the origin of his name, if you will, is he is actually Simon Cowell. The I guess he's infamous at this point. The person you may see on what's the show he's on? Nonetheless,
you did
the
not.
talent search shows.
Yeah.
Our Simon spells his name a little different. He spells his name C''OWL. So Simon Says we should save on our electric bill.
This is a very unexpected turn for this conversation, Jake.
It might be stolen, however, it's free, so we can't. I don't guess we can be liable.
It's fine, and I like his last name is Cowell, so it's Simon Owl. I mean,
yes.
Wow, there's a lot to unpack there. I'm going to keep us on track because my tendency is to follow that rabbit hole and rabbit trail. I'm not going to do that right now, but wow, and thank you for that mental image. But a big part of your campaign, it really looks like it's focused on empowering your members, right? All the branding and everything aside, you really are talking about being power smart. It is about education and empowering folks. Why is that part of the story important? And why did you lean on that with your branding?
Sure. Maybe unique to the state of Louisiana, we are a state that has some of the lowest rates in the country. However, we are also some of the highest usage members in the country.
Yep.
So, it essentially balances out, right? If someone's power bill in another state has a higher rate but lower usage, their bills might be about the same as ours. However, that just means that we as members have more control over our actual bill in the end, because I can shave that usage. I can't, as a member, I can only call my representation and let them know how I feel about the rates. But as a consumer member, I can adjust that thermostat. I can wear a sweater indoors in the winter, and I can do things that I have control of. And that was part of this effort, was to say, look, we more than others can impact our bill by the usage. So we being the membership, right? We can impact our own bills. So we want to empower them. So a lot of the collateral you'll see is a do-it-yourself checklist, right? Because, honestly, some of the things are simple to some folks, but I've worked here 15 years. I can go through this checklist at my home, and I can probably make improvements right now.
Yep.
Just because I'm busy and maybe even sometimes lazy. But I need to know, change that air filter, check the seal on those windows, the things that I can do to save on my bill. One year, this entire idea comes from years of communicating this message to members, but it's just recently that it's become the Power Smart program. But we did one year, someone will come on the Today Show and talk about the best gifts for the holiday season, right?
Of
They'll do
course.
these, here's the top 10. Well, one year we made a full media tour of the best power saving gifts of the holiday season. We
Ooh, I
went
like that.
from, a Nest thermostat to a caulking gun to, and the last item, the coup de grace, the greatest one was this ugly sweater we pulled out
Oh
of the bag,
no.
which made sense to say, hey, wear a sweater and turn your heater down a bit so that you can stay warm without using power. Maybe use an ugly sweater instead. But
I
a lot of
like
things
that,
like
going old school.
push out. Yeah, yeah.
I mean, and this is just stemming off of that. I could see co-ops having ugly sweater contests over the holidays as your efficiency message. It just makes me kind of happy.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Yeah. So you talked about the kind of the content and the focus of the campaign, but I always love talking and thinking about the channels that you're using to share this story. So I know that you have these materials on your website, but what channels are you using to share this message, and which ones seem to work the best with engaging your members?
We utilize Pioneer resources for our social media platforms as well. We appreciate that. Yes.
We appreciate you,
As a
David.
matter of fact, this is a very short but successful story that we committed to the previous company was ARC social media platform.
Sure.
And we contracted with ARC about the same time our statewide organization contracted with Pioneer for our print magazine. And then I think it was very short, maybe 60 days later, Pioneer acquired ARC. We love it. We love them then. We love it now. The resources we have through that are outstanding.
Oh, thank you. And it is now called Pioneer Social.
Pioneer Social. That's right.
Yeah.
And we love Pioneer Social. But we have a success rate on our social platforms it's surpassing the national average of what is an engagement rate for a business in that field, whether it's LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, and X is what we use currently. Of course,
yeah.
I have teenage kids, so I know that the platforms change frequently.
So much.
But we got to stay on top of it.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, that's what we lean on resources like Pioneer Social to do, is help us keep updated and help us keep things fresh. And it is working. Our engagement rate, and we challenge ourselves pretty hard. We take that national average, and we have our key performance indicator that is reported to our board every month. One of those is our social engagement. And
Ooh, I like
constantly, it is above the national average. However, we push our KPI pretty high. We're efforting numbers that are 2 and 3 times the national average. So, because we don't think we should set goals that we can always meet so easy, but nonetheless, those are the
like a challenge.
Yeah. And we find great value in the Power Smart getting out there through that social platform.
Okay.
But of course, that's just one. We do believe that communications it's like a pie, right? There's a piece of the pie, and not everybody at the Thanksgiving dinner table are going to eat a piece of everyone's pie. You eat your own piece of pie. So there are.
I think the pie is breaking down at this point, because now I'm thinking, is it apple pie? Is it pecan pie? Is it pumpkin?
I'm a savory guy, so it's chicken pot pie for me.
Okay. See, now, all right. So focusing on everybody likes different pies.
Everybody likes different pies.
Yeah, and they all like different communication channels. So you talked about social media and that being really successful, and you have a lot of folks eating that flavored pie, if we're going to go with that. What other flavor channels are you serving up to your members? I'm trying hard to stay with the analogy.
We have the ability to message our our membership through either it's through our website or even through our print media that we have, even face to face when folks walk into that lobby. We have at the ready, it's like a publication station that we have that have all the energy efficiency and energy saving measures and brochures and things like the do-it-yourself audit checklist that are available to the members in that way too. Because, a 16-year-old is not walking in these doors, but they are checking social. So we do feel like we want to hit them at these different areas for sure.
Do you have an owl, it's like a Simon mascot that goes out to community events, or do you partner with local rehabilitation centers for wildlife and have owls come out to, events with kids and then talk about the Power Smart program at that level too?
We don't, but I love that idea.
Okay.
We're still fairly new in what we do with the Power Smart program, but we did. We certainly get out to our schools. We're heavily in our schools, and that's a great idea. It's a good opener. Now, Simon is certainly it's an inside name. We don't have
no.
Simon.
I just assumed.
No, that's okay.
It's out now, David. I don't know about you, but once it goes on the Story
You're not
Connect
recording,
podcast,
are you?
Oh yes. Oh yes. All right. So Simon is not what you use for the community. That's just what y'all call him internally.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna have to change up how happy I was about that at the beginning, because I tell you, the Simon Says thing.
Oh, we're not averse to it. We certainly mention his name in public. We do have Secret Service agents that go out with us to our schools and present Simon because he has to be protected, right?
Of course. So funny. All right. How has the Power Smart campaign been received by your members? Have you gotten any feedback about it? Are people excited about it? Or is it affecting change?
Yeah, we do feel that our not only our members, but we have 5 elected public service commissioners, right? And they're very excited about, just like I said, we're a high user state as far as our members and our consumers in general. So they are excited about and want to promote energy efficiency in any way they can. So when they see what we're doing, they're pleased with that. They're certainly our allies when we go out and be a part of a message that's going to, whether it's an audience of elected officials or an audience of 5-year-olds, we're still promoting that idea of energy efficiency and how important it is to us too. It's not this, we're not trying to have a member that is inefficient so that we make more money. I mean, the business model does not support that. So it is an opportunity to communicate that as well.
All right. I know you said that this program and the branding that you've done, which I think is really one of the big takeaways from this, is to brand all of your energy efficiency storytelling to be cohesive and to have a really focused story. I think that's really critical. It's still new. Have you been able to track how much energy your members are saving?
No, we are not.
Last year compared to this year.
Yeah, we're not tracking that. We are certainly doing our best to keep a good idea of what our members feel, right? So through member satisfaction surveys and through even, it goes so deep as to get into talking points is what we call it for our employees that we provide to our employees so that we have a consistent message throughout. Yeah. So it goes all the way to our MSRs, our guys in the field. And, it's always the way I present it to our employees is if you go to the grocery store, your community knows you work at Demco. They just do, whether you're wearing a branded shirt or not. So over the pineapples, they're going to ask you, what can I do to save on my bills? So part of this message is certainly communicated well to our first line of communication, and that's our employees.
I like that. So in addition to, and I guess that's one of the channels that you're using to really get this message across for Power Smart, you're starting with your staff, giving them talking points so that they can be able to address folks in the community. How often do you talk to your staff about the Power Smart campaign? Is it once a quarter, once a year?
Probably more than that, but we do get together with our staff 3 times in the year. Twice, 2 of those meetings are when we go to each of maybe our districts and then our headquarters office, but then once a year we all get together as one unit. We close our offices for the day and we get together and we really show them how important they are to us and to our leadership is to say, we appreciate what you do, but also here is valuable information about the co-op that we trust you with. We trust our employees to deliver that message to the communities that we serve.
Do you guys send out any regular updates to them about seasonal efficiency tips as part of the Power Smart campaign? This month, we're reminding people about the A, B, and C or whatnot.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we do. We have a few tools that we use to keep our employees abreast of what is going to our members. So on our intranet site, we are able to have a category there. It's called the Member Corner. So what that tells employees is that this is exactly what we're telling the members right now or the last few weeks. This is the message that's gone out to them, whether that's a bill insert or even a call out that we might do to our members so that our employees know, because so many times the questions you get from members are generated from some type of communication or something that's happening on the lines, like we may be clearing right of way in a certain area. We want our employees to know that here's how we notified those members in that area. So we have that through our intranet. And then also we have a monthly publication for our employees only, right? It's called the Power Up. It has a message from our CEO that it's really coming straight from his heart to the employees. Like, here's what's on my mind and here's what's on the plate of the cooperative right now. Whether that be, we're going through a power contract transition right now where next month we'll begin purchasing power from someone else. So that's a critical and important message coming from him to those employees. And then also in that same, it's a digital, of course, a digital delivery, but in that same newsletter, there's information valuable to them as far as what we're communicating to members, what we're asking you to, and then, of course, housekeeping things. Like, don't forget to sign up for specific insurance documents or whatever it might be from our HR department, and then safety messages. But prominent on there certainly is Power Smart messaging.
I like that. I love adding that as one of the channels, because we always tell folks to start with staff. But I was just talking to someone last week at a telco who said, we've got 3 different offices. We have to work on our internal communications, but it falls to the side sometimes. Mm-hmm. So I appreciate the Member Corner, especially. Mm-hmm. I love as a way to let people know right now, this is what members are being communicated about. You might be asked about this. Next up, maybe you have pop quizzes for them. That would be fun. Have the CEO call and ask about.
That's right.
No. All right. So one last question before I let you go, David, because I have a feeling that you and I could just talk about all sorts of things.
Right.
I love what y'all are doing. I know, but I'm going to keep us on track. So one last question before I let you go. Do you have any tips for utility pioneers who feel frustrated when they're faced with telling the same story over and over and over and over and over again?
Yes, absolutely I do. So I know we talked about the pie. That is what it is. That's the delivery tools, right? But I think also when we think about the pie, I try to take myself back to when I started with the utility. How much did I know? It's very difficult in our line of work to not look past or to not take advantage of what I know already and assume that a member is ahead of this and they're reading this every single day as well, which we know that they're not. Yeah. So when we take a step back and create from the new side, right? It almost gives you an energy to say, all right, this is new. And don't be afraid to communicate something you feel people already know, because repetition, I feel repetition is okay. I
Yep.
feel repetition is okay.
It's
It's hard to say
necessary.
that twice, but it gives us an energy in creativity as well. So it's difficult, like you said, to know what the member knows, but it helps me to start from the beginning, assuming if you're talking to an audience of 100 folks, assume 20 of them have never heard you speak before.
Yeah.
Always assume people, like when they say, when you get up to speak, you need to say your name. Not everybody in the room knows your name, right? We did this is so funny. Can I share this? Yeah, I can share this. We did our big all staff meeting, everybody together. We closed offices, we brought them all together.
Yeah.
And this one employee told me, they said they were talking to another employee about what's going on. Now, this person I'm talking to is on our executive staff. They're close with the development of what was going on with the all staff meeting. And they said, this one person said, the bald guy really did good. I don't care. I've been bald for a long time. That doesn't offend me. What offended me was I've worked with this person for 15 years and they referred to me as the bald guy. I said, so when I saw him next, I said, hey, my name is David. It is so great to meet you. But it was funny. We both laughed about it. Nonetheless, I would say my biggest advice is position yourself in a place where you're starting from scratch. We have youth programs at Demco that go from age 0, birth, until college. We get scholarships, right? We have the Imagination Library that begins the first month of your life.
Yeah.
And we can send you all the way through your 4 years of college. So if I bring myself back like that, I bring myself back to the beginning and say, what do people need to know from the beginning? It really gave us energy to say, all right, now I can create something that I don't feel like I need to be on the cusp of technology. I got to know everything about EVs and AI. And let's just step back and say, sometimes a coloring book in 5 colors is going to educate someone. So take a step back. It's okay to communicate something you already know to those folks. I want the same thing. You may think I know it, and I probably don't, but I like hearing it again.
Well, and that's why we wanted to have you on, because it's a good reminder to focus on the basics and to, when I was a journalist, I remember I would just try to empty out anything I thought I knew about a topic and come at it fresh each time, because that's how a lot of your audience is going to be approaching your article, right? So it's the same thing with energy efficiency. It might feel tired to us, but color, have some fun, go back to basics, and find some fresh ways to tell that same story again and again and again. And I loved hearing about it from you, David. So thank you for sharing your pie selection with us today. He is David Latona from Demco, and I'm your host, Megan McCoy, now at Pioneer Utility Resources. And until we talk again, keep telling your story.
Story Connect is produced by Pioneer Utility Resources, a communications cooperative that is built to share your story. Story Connect is engineered by Lucas Smith of Lucky Sound Studio.